The second part of 2023 saw a rise in violence in the Democratic Republic of the Congo as the nation prepared for December's general elections. The lethal conflict has been exacerbated by conflicts between militant groups for natural resources and territory, political violence, and growing tensions with neighboring Rwanda over its suspected backing for militia groups in the Congo. In addition to reports of increasing civilian casualties in the eastern Congo, the UN announced that the number of internally displaced persons had reached a record high of 6.9 million. This is because conflict is making an increasing portion of the nation hazardous for civilians. But what is the genesis of all this? Let's find out. Congo's ethnic diversity makes it stand out as the second largest African country by land area after Algeria. Numerous regional languages are spoken in daily life, and the nation is home to about 250 different ethnic groups. In addition to French, which is a holdover from the nation's colonial past, other official languages are Kikongo, Lingala, Chiluba, and Swahili. After the genocide in Rwanda, Hutus, an ethnic minority that was uprooted from Rwanda, settled in the areas where Tutsis lived, subjecting them to discrimination from land laws and citizenship restrictions. This led to significant conflicts in the eastern Congo. Following the genocide in Rwanda, migrants moving to Burundi, Tanzania, and the Congo itself experienced the greatest difficulties. Congo's protection of the perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide and its support for arming them in refugee camps are among the issues that deepened the crisis between the two African countries. Rwanda gave military, political, and financial support to the Tutsis in eastern Congo, strengthening their organizational structure, while Congo shielded the genocide criminals. In a twisted turn of events, Rwanda declared on Tuesday, January 16, that it had stopped a DRC troop invasion along its shared border, which had resulted in one soldier's death and the capture of 2 more. According to a statement from the Rwanda Defense Forces, the Congolese soldiers crossed into Rwandan territory near Rubavu town. During a confrontation with a patrol, one soldier was fatally shot while attempting to open fire, while the other 2 were subsequently apprehended. The detained soldiers were found to have 4 magazines loaded to the brim with 105 rounds of ammunition, an AK-47 rifle, a protective vest, and sachets of cannabis. Take note that Congolese forces had also said in May 2022 that they had captured 2 Rwandan soldiers that had been sent into the DRC in disguise, but both were later released on 11 June that same year. A Congolese soldier was also shot in November 2022 as he crossed a border post near Rubavu district. The Rwanda Defense Force said that he had been killed after shooting at the guard towers. The soldier was identified as a recent recruit to the armed forces who went missing after he got lost during an army patrol. The DRC and Rwanda said they were investigating the incident, but nothing has been done to date. The continuous hostility between the 2 neighboring countries is heightened by this incident. Kinshasa has consistently charged Kigali with providing cover for the March 23 and 23 rebels, who are mostly Tutsite ethnic rebels operating in eastern Congo. The rebels resumed their onslaught last year near Uganda, forcing nearly 1 million people to flee. The situation draws attention to how vulnerable the border area is and how difficult it is for both countries to keep things stable. As long as tensions continue, diplomatic initiatives will probably be essential to stopping future escalation and promoting harmonious ties between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The most recent round of problems began when the M23 rebels assaulted the Congolese army in North Kivu in November 2021. The crisis was rekindled by the M23 offensive, but its underlying roots were never resolved. As earlier mentioned, these 2 nations have a shared history dating back to 1994, when the genocide in Rwanda caused 2 million refugees to flee into neighboring countries, the majority of whom went to Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. In the First Congo War, from 1996 to 1997, Rwanda and Uganda supported Lord Kabila, which led to the overthrow of Mobutu Sese Seko, the president of Zaire. After that, the area became more unstable as armed organizations multiplied and started acting as proxy fighters. We can see that Congo and Rwanda were once allies. So, what is the problem behind this conflict? Rwanda and M23 have said that the Democratic Republic of Congo collaborates with the Hutu power paramilitary group Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, which was involved in the Rwandan genocide. The United States has not been silent on this matter. Following heightened fighting that has resulted in the displacement of almost 7 million people, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken encouraged Rwanda and Congo to defuse tensions and remove troops from their borders. Blinken spoke separately by phone with Congolese President Félix Tshisekedi and Rwandan President Paul Kagame about the volatile situation and worsening humanitarian crisis along the border. The European Union also urged Rwanda to stop supporting the M23 rebel group, which has captured swaths of territory in the North Kivu province of the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. The DRC, along with the United States and several European countries, has repeatedly accused its smaller Central African neighbor of backing the M23, although Kigali, Rwanda's capital, denies the charge. In a promising move, the two countries agreed in late November to a pact negotiated by the United States to bilaterally reduce military presence on their shared border, reduce hate speech, and refrain from efforts to affect one another's political systems. Despite the agreement, political animosity between Kinshasa and Kigali was reinforced on December 9, when Congolese President Félix Tshisekedi compared Rwandan President Paul Kagame to Adolf Hitler. The Congolese president was not still happy. He threatened to break off his cautious diplomacy and declare war if he was re-elected. "If you re-elect me, and if Rwanda persists in its aggression, I will request Parliament to authorize a declaration of war. We will march on Kigali. Tell Kagame those days of playing games with Congolese are over. I will not tolerate his provocations," he said. Tshisekedi's harsh approach, according to analysts, was a calculated bet meant to fortify support against national voters. There were more than 20 competitors in the contest, including heavyweights Moise Katumbi and Martin Fayulu. So, they guessed that he was saying all this just because he saw elections were around the corner. He has now been re-elected, and people are patiently waiting to see what he is going to do. President Félix Tshisekedi will officially begin his second term as President of the Democratic Republic of Congo on January 20. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has also announced he will stand for re-election this year, hoping to extend nearly a quarter of a century in power. Kagame, who became president in 2000, is eligible to continue in office for another decade after a constitutional amendment in 2015 changed term limits that would have forced him to step down 2 years later. As things become tense in the two countries, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Rwandan President Paul Kagame on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday, January 16. Blinken said the U.S. was committed to supporting efforts toward a peaceful resolution of differences between Rwanda and Congo and avoiding conflict in the eastern DRC. Congo is also not seeing the help of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the country. This is why the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, MONUSCO, which has helped in the fight against rebels for more than 2 decades, will completely withdraw from the country by the end of 2024. The announcement comes after the Congolese government, which was just re-elected in a disputed vote, called for the UN mission to leave the country, saying it had failed to protect civilians from armed groups. The withdrawal will take place in 3 phases. In the first phase, about 2,000 UN troops will leave South Kivu by the end of April, taking the currently 13,500-strong MONUSCO force to 11,500. UN Special Representative Bintou Keita explained that 14 UN bases in the province will be taken over by Congolese security forces. Paul Kagame, as well, does not have only the DRC to deal with at the moment. The UK had paid £240 million to Rwanda, with a further £50 million to come for asylum seekers to be sent. So far, no asylum seekers have been sent to the country. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has said he would return money to the UK if no asylum seekers are sent to his country under his deal with the government. Moving away from this, what needs to be done to calm down the uprising conflict between DRC and Rwanda? The international community, including the African Union and neighboring countries, need to play a vital role in facilitating dialogue, offering mediation services, and providing resources to support peace-building efforts. African presidents are sitting quietly, waiting for things to escalate before they start running from one country to another and giving ideas that do not make any sense. African leaders should see Africa as one and look for means to settle these problems. The African Union has only expressed concern about the escalating tensions and urged both countries to engage in dialogue to find a peaceful resolution. They advocate for regional efforts to address security concerns and promote stability. What is the immediate action they have taken to see to it that these countries find a peaceful resolution? Africans can't say they are building the continent, yet they keep fighting among themselves, destroying what they are struggling to build. Africans should take note that the West is looking for opportunities like this to come into Africa. They will propose to be allies and end up manipulating some of these presidents who are behaving as puppets. Some African leaders have tried to solve the problems. We do not deny that, but have they continued their quest? We say no. For example, former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is currently the East African Community's facilitator on the peace process in eastern Congo, stepped in to resolve the crisis between the two countries. However, nothing has changed. Take note that Kenyatta and Tshisekedi have been friends, even before the Congolese man ascended to the presidency. So, is he supporting his friend or aiming for peace in both countries? Angolan President João Lourenço also hosted a mini tripartite summit in Rwanda, the capital of southern African country, on July 6, 2022, as a mediator appointed by the African Union. But still yet, no results. The long-lasting shadow of the past still hangs over the present, fostering mistrust and bloodshed between the Congo and Rwanda. While there are certain routes for de-escalation and peace-building, enduring stability necessitates sincere dedication on the part of all parties, ongoing foreign assistance, and a firm focus on addressing the underlying problems that fuel the conflict. Addressing past atrocities, prosecuting those responsible for human rights abuses, and ensuring justice for victims are crucial not only for healing, but also for laying the foundation for a future built on respect and the rule of law. The international community must move beyond rhetoric and actively support peace-building efforts, provide humanitarian assistance to those affected by the violence, and hold perpetrators accountable. Only through sustained engagement and collective action can we hope to see a lasting resolution to this complex and tragic conflict. Do you believe there is still more to be revealed about the Rwanda-Congo conflict? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.